What's happening here? Sorry, Facebook. This has never happened to me before. I'm going to discard it. We're going to try Instagram again. Okay. Excellent. Welcome, welcome. Now it's good. Everything is wonderful. Okay. Perfect. Welcome, everyone. Thank you guys super duper for coming and watching. So we're just going to jump right into it tonight. So we got sent, it's called Andara crystals. And so we do at Tree of Life Organization and DanielleLipton.com, we do run a crystal package. And so the crystal packages, you guys have sent in a lot of crystals. And so people have been getting a package from us. And then all of a sudden we super loaded with tons and tons of crystals and goodies. Well, the new crystals that we just had come in are called Andara crystals. So this is what they look like. It's a light blue and a green. Blue and green. So we are going to be enclosing these in the crystal package. Each crystal I'm going to wrap so that it does not break because these are high value. So we have to be really delicate and careful. Also, a couple other crystals that we had come in were big clusters. Like this one, I just think it's so beautiful. And this is, of course, an amethyst cluster. So a lot of the crystal packages, the boxes I have, it fits the cluster, but we're also going to be adding other stuff in it. So I have keychains and fun stuff to add and colors and all sorts of amazing goodies. So that's what we are doing. Hi, Caroline. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so incredibly much for showing up. So yeah, so this week the topic that we are going to be discussing for the next couple of weeks, the star people are actually saying, is attachments and attachment releases. And so the reason why this is coming up is because many individuals in their state of their evolution or their moment in their evolution need to start focusing on clearing out the attachments. So each and every one of us has an energetic grid structure that surrounds the physical form. And so that energetic grid structure, the way that this attachment scenario works, they're shadow beings. And so a lot of times you may have seen one of them. Many of us starseeds have seen a shadow person. I've seen one. My mother saw one standing next to me when she came home from food shopping. And she accused me of having someone in the house. And I was like, there was no one in the house. But the entire time I felt at unease. So I felt like someone was watching me and I was walking around the house like paranoid. And so, but that was a shadow person because he was in like a shade. So we couldn't really see him, but there he was. So these things are real. We seen them in the hospital. My ex seen them in the hospital over my daughter when she was born too. So that's one type of attachment, is a shadow person. That's what we call it. It's just, we can't see it. It's a full size person though. The other type of attachments are parasitic in nature, and then they grow and grow, and then they spark off, and then all of a sudden they're in an energetic form. So we can't see them physically, but they latch onto your energetic grids. Now, me personally, I've done attachment clearings with the star people. And so what that looks like is, it looks like a lot of breathing. And you got to go inside and you keep clearing yourself out and you lower your heart rate. And then you ask the higher self, give me the attachment's name. Now you need either the name, the emotion code, or the location. And so your emotion code, let's say it's, I've been making a list. And so this is going to turn into a book. I can already feel it because, if you've ever seen a book of shadows from like the movies and the TV shows, right, they're always talking about like demonology and attachments and all this stuff. This is what the star people are giving me right now. And they're saying that it's of high value because you need to know the name or the location code. And so one of them was Dazed and Confused. That's the last one I put on the list. Now they showed me a visual of this one and it kind of looked like a guy, well, like a smiley head, like one of those heads, but the eyes were dazed and confused. It was like a spiral. And so, but it was also an energetic frequency. So I had to feel into every single attachment on my list. I have 10 pages and they're full, like a full page of attachments. And so we're going to be going over all of these pages on our attachment release class. And so that's coming up. It's later on this month. I don't know what date. It's it's on my Facebook. If you guys are interested in the class, or DanielleLipton.com. So you can go into products and sessions or services and then scroll down and there's attachment release class. And so, but what that is we are going to be going inside. It's very emotional, this process of attachment release. And so when I went through it with the star people, it took me 4 days to clear all of my attachments. They're not all cleared because the second that you go into the civilization, we get new ones on us. It's normal. And so what we do is we go through, we release again. You have to go into each and every emotion code. So just imagine for a second, one of the other attachments was nothing else matters. Have you ever in your life said, well, nothing else matters? That's actually an attachment generating that emotion code inside of you. And so, but the second you have it once, so the second you emit the emotion code of nothing else matters, that's a wrap. It makes an energetic imprint in the energetic grid structure, which then allows the attachment to latch onto you. And so, yeah, it's just beautiful. Hi, welcome, Melissa. Yes, our own Book of Shadows guide. And so this type of work I would have to collaborate with an artist, somebody who can see. Because if I can name what the attachment looks like and then they could draw it out or sketch it out, that would be wonderful. Because if you can see it, you could tell it to get off of you. If you can feel the location. So a lot of people, some people think that they can't feel their body, but the truth is we all can. Because if you took your hand and you went like this, you can feel it. Your skin has a sensation. Well, if you close your eyes, you can actually feel into all of the organ systems as well. And so you can feel the blood pulsing inside your body. You can feel your heartbeat. You can actually close your eyes and tune in. You can feel your kidneys. You can ask all of these organs and body parts, are you happy? Are you healthy? How do you feel? And so when we are talking emotion codes, how does it make you feel is of high value to each and every one of us. So how does it make you feel? If you are running an emotion, if someone made fun of you, how did you feel when they made fun of you? Did you allow yourself to get upset? Did you get triggered? If you got triggered, that means there's something inside of you that needs to be handled, that you have to go inside. You have to handle that. Forget about the other person. They're irrelevant because we only manifest experiences that we need to have in order to push us along the path of our own evolution. So each and every person is like a mirror reflection of something that we need to see in order to push us so that we evolve. It's not easy. Sometimes we see tragedy or trauma or car accidents or ambulances or whatever it is. And so, yeah, it's wild. But the second that you start seeing things, now, the way I normally do it is I look to see something 2 or 3 times. And so it's kind of like I have to get slapped in the face with whatever synchronicity it is. And so, but that's normal because you don't want to go outside and you see a spider and then you're like, oh my God, it's a spider. But I do that anyway because now, you know, if there's a spider in my bedroom, I'm Googling, right? Is it a brown spider? Is it a white spider? What's the metaphysical reason behind seeing the spider? And so, but the synchronicities, when you start seeing them repetitively, it's like, okay, we have to focus on this. So what's happening? All right. Many times the synchronicities are something that is really calling or coaxing your attention because it wants you to evolve above it. You may I don't know how to say her name. She may be able to draw them. Yeah. So that's perfect. So tell her to send me a message. Yeah. Hi, Caroline. Welcome to Make It. See, we have 2 Carolines in a row. Welcome, guys. Amazing. Facebook user. Hi, Melissa. Okay, so I think it would be really cool. And then not only that, but all these books, because like I want to make an ascension guidebook, but even if the book itself had some creative artwork, right? So sacred geometric snowflakes or, you know, there's so much information. There's so much. You could put so much information, but make it pretty and artistic and make it look old, right? So like the one time I showed you guys my journal, which had crystals on the outside, it should look like that because let me tell you something. The emotion that you get from holding the book, right? And so they tell you, oh, you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover. That's because they're not artistic. And so now just imagine if we had the artists making the book covers. And so the book cover looked beautiful. And so you got a whole story just by looking at the book cover. Then in that case, you would want to judge a book by its cover because you would see the artwork and the beauty in it. And then you would get curious and you would start reading what's on the inside. And so that is coming later on in life. These books, they're very spiritual and they're very, it's like ascension. And so each and every one of us should. But the second that you feel the book, you should feel like it's calling you, like it's meant for you, right? It should have crystals all over it if you can. And so it would just be amazing, right? It would just add so much magic into it. And even like I thought about opening up a school. I would love to do that. And so the school should really be it should look like Harry Potter world, because when you step into it, you start discussing these type of topics, you feel like you're in the environment of it. And so it makes you feel differently. When you feel differently, it sparks your creativity, or your childlike mind becomes activated. Your solar plexus starts pulling energy in very differently, because you have to realize it's just like the crystals. When you have items around you, you are giving a certain vibe. And that vibe is pulling into your energetic structures. This is the reason why when we're in our bedrooms, if our bedroom looks beautiful, we're at peace. If it's not beautiful, it doesn't smell nice. If it's dirty, if there's clothes all over the place, you feel anxiety. And so you may not consciously be aware of these emotions. However, your heart is. And so if you pay attention to your heart will either start to raise in frequency, or it will start to slow down, and you can go into a meditation state. Now, slowing down the heart rate is of high value for each and every one of us, because when you slow down your heart rate, it actually allows you to come to what is known as a 0 point. The 0 point is of super, super high value. So this 0 point, it gets activated during our meditations. Now, your heart chakra goes into a vortex out the front, a vortex out the back. There's a Kundalini channel directly in the center. Now, your emotions towards the front is positive and loving. Towards the back is fearful. They're connected to the void and the source, which is one frequency wave. And so the reason why this is all important, that we kind of have an understanding of it, is because when you drop into the meditation, you drop into the heart chakra, you go into the center, it's neutrality. And so when we are opening our eyes and engaging in the physical realm, a lot of us are holding love and light, because that's the polarity that we wish to see. The more we focus on that, the more it spreads. However, when we start focusing on the negativity, which we've already done, most of the starseeds and light workers, we've walked through our fires. We've gone through the chaos. We've gone through the negativity. So now we're bringing in the positivity to cross cancel it. However, when you drop into a meditation and you're just at peace with what is in the now moment, it brings you into a state or frequency of neutrality. That's very important, because when you're neutral in everything, in whatever it is that you see, no matter how horrible, no matter how joyful and blissful, but when you're neutral, it connects you into the source frequency faster. And so think about it this way. The source frequency is known by many different names. The source, the Force from Star Wars, or God. And so when we start talking about things like that, it's like, okay, we need to bring the science with the spirituality. Spirituality is religion and God. It's all, everything blends together as one. And so when you're in that space, the source frequency is everything positive and everything negative. It's everything. It's in every single thing that you see. Everything. Every blade of grass is a source frequency. Every stick is a source frequency. Every person that you want to curse and yell at is a source frequency. There, it runs inside of them. It runs inside of you. It's the same thing. And so when you hold happier frequencies, you start magnetically attracting happier frequency people, places, and things. However, when you drop into a zone of neutrality, that's really when it's like game over. Because at that point, you're bringing the source frequency directly into your heart, and it radiates out, and it lowers the crime. It lowers the accidents, illnesses, diseases. So if anybody wanted to make a major shift in the world, it should start with meditation. And so that's just a given. That's right off. That's scientifically proven as well. And so meditation does the same exact effect as the pyramids. The pyramids, just imagine you have the pyramid, and inside of it is a vortex energetic. And so your DNA flows in the shape of, right? And so every single plant that grows, even a blade of grass, if you took a camera and you took a slow motion video, you would see that that plant, it grows in a spiral. And so the earth is giving us a vortex energetic system at our feet. We know this as the Schumann resonance. So when we start realizing, okay, everything is vortexes, what is a vortex? It is circular in its nature, and it spirals around like the DNA. Now, it goes up, but it also comes down. And so the star people have been telling us for the past couple of videos, I've been telling you guys, they've been saying you have a frequency that comes, your higher self or your soul, it comes down from the top and it goes all the way down through your feet into the earth, and you are connected to the earth by a frequency. However, that frequency goes in a triangle, and there's 3 different energies built into that triangle, right? And so that triangle spins, and it generates what looks like the DNA. It spirals up, but this one's spiraling down. Now, that's really important, because this is how the energetics flow. We're basically batteries, if you think about it. And so we have electricity that flows up, and we have magnetism that flows down. Your magnetism is directly connected to the heart chakra, to the emotions. And so your electricity is your chi energetics. It's on the right-hand side of your body. I know the camera probably has me flipped around, but it's the right-hand side of your body. And so that flows up. Now, many of us who are right-handed, this is the hand that we cast the chi energetics with. Some people who are left-handed, the star people are saying the energetics could potentially be reversed. It doesn't necessarily mean you are. Some people who are ambidextrous, they can do both. And so just pay attention to it and be aware. And this is really important because when we start bringing up there's actually 6 Kundalini channels in the physical body. However, there's 4 primary ones: earth, air, fire, water. Those are the elementals that it's connected to. So the one on the left is earth. That's the one that's connected to that element. Air is in the front. That's where you breathe. Fire is your chi energetics. It's on the right-hand side. Water is your spinal cord fluid. It's in the back. And so we can do elemental manifestations where we start invoking these elements. What does that do? Scientifically speaking, what does that do? So forget about the outside world. When you drop into a meditation state, your primary focus is on this frequency, the primary Kundalini channel system. That's what activates. Now you can even feel your soul or your light body, whatever, your astral form, whatever you guys want to call it. It's all the same thing. You can feel it pulling up the body. You can feel it tapping into different chakras during deep meditations. When you start to call in earth, air, fire, water, and then the center one, you start to call in ether. And so that ether cord or channel, they're saying, that's in the center of your physical form, is covered by dark matter. And so how do we birth life? In darkness. And so the baby has to be in a womb. It's dark. So this is the same as this Kundalini channel works. And so when you start to call upon all the elementals, this is elemental magic. But what it is you're just tuning to the Kundalini channels that are inside the physical form. You're speaking an elemental, which is just activating that channel that it's correlating to. That's all. So you're actually you're interacting with inside of you is what it is. But we always consider it, it's an element, it's on the outside. That's not true. Your energy changes what's on the outside. These Kundalini channels is how we change the weather. We just don't realize it. That's what the star people are saying right now. And so by saying thank you for this beautiful blue sky, sunshiny, warm day, right? And then holding the emotion code of blue sky, sunshine, warm. How does the warm feel on your physical form? How does all these things feel? How do these emotions feel? Because even warmth from the sun is an emotion code. Everything that you do is an emotion code or an experiential, they're saying. And so when you start to harness the emotion codes, how does it make you feel? That's a high value question. Everybody should be asking themselves, how does it make you feel every single day? Every single day. How did that make me feel? Did I feel triggered? Did I feel happy? Did I feel joyful? Do I want more of that? Do I want less of that? You need to start balancing your emotions. This is the way, is by breaking it down scientifically and by asking yourself how it made you feel. And so when you pull at memories, right? So you take a look at the memory that you had. How did that make you feel? Do you feel any anxiety in the upper chest? A lot of the times when the fight or flight systems are activated, our upper chest is going to be full throttle. Your breathing may be shallow. It's not going to be in the belly because fight or flight systems always activate the upper lungs. And so when you start to realize that you were designed to breathe into the belly. Now, many times, some women they suck their bellies in, and so it makes it so you can't breathe in the belly, and so you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to let it out. You have to breathe into your belly. When you do that and you slow your rate, then all of a sudden it changes. Your energetics can shift very, very easily. And so if you've ever had an argument with somebody and right as they're like rah, 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 you're just like and you just come inside yourself and calm yourself, you'll notice that calmness kind of can wash over them and it takes it down a notch. So it's just amazing. Yeah. They made me sit in my left hand and write correctly with the right hand. Yeah, they kind of force people during certain generations. You had no choice. You have to learn how to do it right. And so, but that goes to show, what's happening in the school districts and all that, right? We know now for a solid fact, we're not meant to be the same. It's impossible. You're never going to meet another person who is identical. Even twins too. Now, let me tell you something. twins, you can have twins and they're born, and then all of a sudden they grow into adults, and one twin develops cancer and the other one doesn't. So why? It's because the emotions are different. So why are the emotions different on both twins? It depends on their perspective. And so whatever they experienced, whatever happened to them in their lives, whatever traumas they're holding, whatever belief systems they're holding, the shades, the veil system, all this stuff changes who you are in the now moment. And so attachments and shadow work, that's only one form. You also have to go into the belief systems. So the belief systems are very easy to change. Most of the times we dive into the science and we're like, oh, that makes sense, because your science, everyone's science, is fluid. And so think about the day of Benjamin Franklin. And so what he believed back then is no longer fitting for us. What we know today is, we call it modern, but there's no such thing. Because in another 100 years, they're going to believe completely different information compared to what we believe. This is just a process of evolution. This is just how it works. So when you take a look at the history book and you're like, oh, they believe that? Oh, they were stupid. That's not true. That's the consciousness level that they embodied in that moment in time. It's okay. And we embody a different moment. We are having a different experience. The truth of that paradigm is, all of those people are still on humanity's collective consciousness grid. And so we are actually able to go inside of ourselves, and we're able to make changes or modifications to the past as well as the future. And it will also reflect in the present moment. That is exactly how powerful each and every one of us are. It starts by going inside. You have to meditate. Now, I understand if you guys don't want to meditate. And I understand, because I didn't like to do it. I still am like dragging my feet. However, if you want to activate like dreamwalker abilities, changing the past, changing the future, all of these abilities can be done by going inside. If there's chaos outside your door, it's okay. You just meditate and send it love and light. Thank you for healing the situation. Ask the source frequency. Ask God. It doesn't matter. This is prayer. Prayer beads too. And so if you take a look at the churches, they used to have a rosary bead or beads on a string. The monks had beads on a string. So what was that? Scientifically speaking, when you sit there and you say, I am intelligent, we'll just pick that, or I am healthy, and you say it 100 times until you believe it. And so it's really not about the beads. It's about your belief systems. Do you believe that you are healthy? Do you believe that you are protected? The first thing I did, I started saying there's always a protector for me. And then I noticed if anybody like chewed me out on one of my posts on Facebook, then someone would say something to them. And I didn't even have to lift a finger. And I was like, love and light. Right. And so that was the first thing I did. And so you guys can do it too. But that one, I just kept saying it over and over. There's always a protector. There's always a protector. And so now it allows me to not worry about the darkness, and I stay focused on love and light. And so it's a blessing, because if you guys can do that too, then you don't have to worry. Right. And so you just know that you're always protected. And you can even say, God always protects me. It doesn't matter. Invoke whoever it is that you feel called to invoke. Now, who is this? Ganesh. This guy started contacting me. It was during one of the last shifts, and it was for healing. Now, I didn't make the contact because I didn't go through that personal healing at that moment, but my kid's father did. And so they gave him a book, the same book that they were telling me about, that I couldn't find it, but then he came here and he had the book, and I was like, how do you have the book? Now, all of a sudden, they got him doing amazing things. And so your guides, this is an important thing to discuss about guides, because your guides will change and shift depending on the frequency that you hold. You guys could attract Isis. You can attract Thoth, or however you say it. You can attract Ganesh and all of those people. All of these guys are all connected. They're all working together with the star people. And so even like me, I consider the star people like a brick of people, but there's more. And so I'm just unaware of the levels that there are. There's angels, there's guides, there's religious figures. They know every single person who's watching the video. They could tell. They know each and every one of you guys. So it's absolutely amazing. So if anybody wants to make contact or communication with them, and you're watching this, and it doesn't matter if you're watching it now or 6 months from now, because they have time travel technology and they know. Just say thank you, star people, for guiding me and supporting me. They will make contact and communication with each and every one of you. They do not want to have single channels on the planet. In time, they want to be able to say, okay, well, we woke up how many people? Let's start talking to them direct. And so, but they do it baby steps. So the voice inside of your mind. Now, we spoke about attachments, but let's speak about the positivity. So the voice inside of your mind is how they will start to communicate with you. And so it sounds like your voice. You're going to think it's you. You're probably going to be like, oh, maybe that was just me, right? You're not going to really believe, but it could be them, or it could be your higher self. Either or. In time, if you keep talking to your voice, and it's only positive, because the star people will never tell you anything negative. They're all love and light. And so when you hear something negative, take the negative and cast it out. You are not welcome. Throw it in the trash bin, right? And so automatically I would treat that like it's an attachment. Get off me, go home. You are not welcome. And so the more and more you do that, what you're actually doing is you're training yourself to take full control of your thoughts and emotions. Your thoughts have an impact on your emotions, because if you have a thought, that thought is usually followed by an emotional frequency. And so we'll take, for an example, an ice cream cone. Each and every one of you guys listening to this video, your brainwaves just fired off ice cream cone. And so what happened? You may have had extra saliva forming in your mouth. Even if it's a tiny, tiny amount, because you didn't smell it, you just heard the word ice cream cone. And so now it starts a process of digestion just by hearing the word. So we have found that there is an energetic transference when you hold food. And so anybody who eats like peppers, cucumbers, salad, when you actually take your hands and you hold the food, your digestive system starts. We eat with a fork. Is that healthy? We're not connecting and grounding to the food. Now, how do babies eat? They grab it with their fingers and they eat it. Indonesian people, they use their fingers. They do not use silverware. Now, I thought that was very odd. I worked in a Japanese steakhouse once. So, shio wasanada teo tatako. It means happy birthday. And so it's so funny. It's a happy birthday song. But those guys used to eat with their fingers. And so when they ate with their fingers, they would be all happy. And so, but we had no idea what they were doing scientifically to the actual body. So think about it from an animalistic perspective. If you are outside, you are grabbing and your body is preparing for the digestion. And so that's how that works. Yeah. It's actually, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. That's the birthday song in Japanese. So yeah, I worked in a place called Gashos, which is so funny because it means house of praying hands. That's what the word Gasho means. It's cool. Yeah. Trying to meditate last night about these negative thoughts about myself, my abilities, lacking ability to access them, worthlessness. These were not my thoughts, and I could not shut them off. Help. So when that happens, and that one stinks because I've been there and I know exactly. But I kept saying over and over again, I am safe. I am safe. You can ask the star people to help you, and hopefully they come in and they help you, but you do have to learn to overcome them on your own. So a lot of times I used to get up from sleeping because it's not, for me personally, it's not worth sleeping if you have that in your head. And so I don't want to go to bed like that, because the 15 minutes that you are winding down, getting to bed, your brain waves goes into a state of theta. And so that's when your higher self is looking at you and wants to see what it is that you want to manifest. This happens when we get in deep, deep meditation. It happens naturally when we are winding down to fall asleep. This is why we're not supposed to fall asleep watching the TV at all. And then the commercials gets into your subconscious mind because we fell asleep with the TV on. And then all of a sudden we wake up and we want an easy wake up. It's amazing the way the human psyche works, but this is how it works. So when you hear things like that, try and go outside, try and use some sage. Maybe it's your environment. And so you try sleeping in a hotel room for a night. Did you get a different night's rest? Now, I've slept in people's houses, and those people were religious. So they went to church. I don't do church. I love church. It's not for me. However, they went to church. And when I walked into their house, I felt like the energy was completely different. It was more pure, more clean. And it's been 2 different people's houses that had that. Every Saturday and Sunday, they went to church. So the only thing that I could perceive from the situation was the angels had to follow them home because they were in church. And so if you're ever having those type of, experiences, it's okay to go into a church and to not listen to them speak. I don't want to hear them speak. Unless they have science mixed in their Bible, I don't want to hear it. But I can go and I can sit in the chair when they're not having a session and I can meditate. And you can do it. You can even hold the rosary so no one looks at you, right? Whatever you guys want to do, it's okay. You can meditate. You could fold your feet up. You could sit on the thing. You could do your little yogi moves. No one's going to bother you in the church. You can go and you can sit there, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes. Just see if that changes, because you can, while you're in the church, ask the angels to come and help. Now, we do know the angels, the churches, they have special like areas where it's generating a vortex inside, because there's a sacred geometric structure to the way that they built the buildings. Now, many churches were also used for free electricity. So this is vortex energy. And so Nikola Tesla knew all this information. I also want to make it very, very, oh my goodness. Okay. Instagram. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Somebody just called me and blanked out Instagram. I have the phone on Do Not Disturb. I don't know why this happened. Can you guys hear me? It's blinking. Oh, man. Okay. I don't think Instagram can hear me. So we're going to end this one. Let's see. We'll end it. I'm sorry, Facebook. Okay. Camera. Okay. Share. Say. I'm sorry, guys. Just 1 second. Okay. I really don't know why my phone does this. It's very weird because the Do Not Disturb is on and my iWatch is across the room. It's just like it happens. So I don't know what to say about that. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's go live again. Let's see. Okay. I don't know if it's live. It's black. Well, now's the time to take. This is my mushroom tea. I drink it in a Dunkin' Donuts cup, so it brings back the memory of coffee. I think Instagram just blinked out. Anyway, what was I saying? So churches. Okay. No, Instagram's, it's blanked out. Anyway, so churches. Let me see. With that lady about stuff bothering her, she may have attachments that mess with her IG. Yes, absolutely. I've also dealt with thought grid attachments. And so thought grid attachments, they mess with your mind. And so they push thoughts when you're first waking up. They push thoughts when you're falling asleep. Yeah, I call in Archangel Michael. Now, they told me once that he was a divergent. And so I don't know what that means. I'm just going to wave a little crystal. And we look like we're back on Instagram. You see how quick that worked? I swear to God, Instagram, I just waved a crystal. And the second I did this, Instagram turned back on. It was just blinking. So totally wild. You see how quick? So this is a communication. The second I did this, and I felt a tickle in my throat. So the second I did this, Instagram came back on. Like the video was like, boop, and it came back up. So you see, even the communication, because this is communication that I have between you guys. When you start messing with your energy, it changes the communication that you have. So just that, it just totally, I wish I would have had a camera recording this, because that was just amazing. Absolutely amazing. It was blinking like off and on, and then poof. Yeah. I've had one too. You didn't know about for 10 years. Yeah. So we got yours out. There's a lot of people who, everyone has attachments. We get them. We go into the civilization. We get one. And what are you going to do? It's a part of life. We have to know. And this is why controlling your emotions is key. Because if you can control your thoughts and your emotions, the attachments don't matter. When you start to raise your frequency to a high enough degree, they can't see you. So, of course, they're not going to be able to interact with you. They're not going to be able to pull your energy. And you're only going to have positive attachments. So the positive attachments are the attachments who they want to watch you on a roller coaster. They want to watch you have fun. So it's no harm, no foul, because you're having fun. You're excited. You're energized. And so it's eating. You're eating. There's no harm, no foul. They can stay. Not only that, but I asked the Star People a question. And so the answer I got was amazing, because if there's positive attachments, well, can we coax them? Can you guys come? So what is the process of manifestation? Everyone has been telling us you got to focus on what you want. So if you want, for an example, a tiny home community, start focusing on it. So you can also say, thank you, any positive life-giving attachments who want to be part of a community for latching on, because they will be like your support. It's kind of like the good angel on the shoulder, right? And so they're your support. Oh, I want a tiny home community. Oh, I want a tiny home community. They're making that help you to manifest it, right? And so we can play around with this whole concept of attachments, because not every one of them is negative. There's a lot of positive ones out there as well. So, and we call the positive ones like angels, except there's different levels to that. Yeah. Beautiful. Selenite. This was selenite. Oh, yes, selenite. Kratom, I would be careful with. And so this isn't going to happen to everybody. However, I run addiction patterns. It's like having a red button in my head. I'm sure many star seeds, especially the ones with like ADD or ADHD, I'm sure you guys have the same patterns, but it's with everything. And so like it's extreme. Like if I eat a salad, I will eat the same salad every day for 6 months. Back to back to back to back to back. Like it's a repetitive pattern. And so this is just what I do. This is not what you guys should do. This is what I do. And it is what it is. I've been dealing with it my whole life. So I don't know. I used to drink a gallon of soda a day, every day for over 20 years. I used to smoke 1,000 cigarettes a day. And so now I'm on water. So, and this is the whole thing. Like it's little by little. The whole process of evolution is picking and choosing what you need to remove or what you need to add to allow you to manifest higher frequencies. And so my chocolate, I started doing this pattern with chocolate where I had to have chocolate like 2 or 3 times a day. So it's turning into an attachment because you get attached to an item in the physical reality and then it starts to harm you. I started eating the chocolate, not because I wanted to eat chocolate, but because I wanted the benefits of eating the cacao. And so that benefit, it makes you healthier, makes you happier. So if you can do tiny amounts, but not sit there and eat like 2 or 3 bars a day, that's not right. So you have to know your limits. You have to know how to balance yourself. And so the button in my head, I take everything to the extreme, absolute extreme. And so, but that's just me. That's why I came here. And not only that, but it's much more comforting because now that I'm sitting here and I'm doing all of the attachment and like I'm going over how many different names of the attachments, like that's only one page. I have 10 pages, but I want to say 95% of them I've experienced. And so I could just sit there and feel into the emotion because I've already gone through all this stuff. And then I could look at you guys one-on-one, feel into the emotion code inside your energetic grids and try and help release it. And so it's a learning process. You have to do it a bunch of times before you learn how to do it. But each and I'm going to do it again. Each and every one of us should be learning how to do this type of work because it's only going to benefit us if we do it on ourselves. You see that? I mean, it's like, it gets you good. Like I felt like I was being stabbed in my throat. Like there's water in my eyes. It's wild. When I do sessions with people too, and they have throat chakra imbalances. So you have to realize there's multiple reasons for having an experience like this. Sometimes the government man is here. I don't feel him right now, but he usually pops in later on. Whatever. He's amazing. And so one of you guys may have a throat chakra imbalance, and being the empath, we're all empaths, I could feel it. And so this is what it is. I made a post on this on Facebook. You guys should really read the post. They're very intricate. And so, but it's about energy transference. And, because I do the energetic work and sessions for many, many people, it allows me to tune into their energetics and feel what distortions that they have. So I had this one experience, right? And this was, how long ago was this? Like 7 months ago, I caved in and I ate Taco Bell. Should not have done that. And so I started burping and burping and burping. So it didn't sit with me. I've been eating salads forever. And Taco Bell, it rocked my boat big time. And so, but then I'm on TikTok and I'm watching one channel. And then he starts hiccuping and burping. And he's like, what the hell? Who's casting something at me? And I was sitting there and I knew for a fact it was me. And he was like, wait, I'm transmutating it. So he transmutated the energy and then he ended his live. Well, then he ended his live. So I ended up watching the second guy. And then the second guy started burping and he was doing the same thing and choking and gagging and stuff. And he was like, this just started happening. Like the second I clicked on, he was like, it just started happening. So Some people, when you start to do the energetic work, you can broadcast your frequency very wide, but you can also tune into other people's frequencies, very, very sensitive to it. So this happens when you start learning the energetic grid clearing systems. And so that's not something that anyone can show you, by the way. I know a lot of people, we do Reiki classes, which is great because you're getting like the fundamentals of it. You're getting to learn to feel into the body, to feel the movements. All of these things are wonderful. However, you have to keep doing it. And so by keep doing it over and over and over on multiple people, it's experiential that you're going to be learning. That's how you get to my level. And so you have to start small. Start doing it for free on people. Start feeling into your friends and family, right? How does it make you feel? You do not have to be in front of them. You can even sit down. You could do somebody online. You guys in my Facebook comments, you can ask each other, hey, can I do some energy on you? And just to feel and just positive love and light. It has to be love and light. Otherwise, please don't do it to anyone on my list. Always, we send love and light. And so just do it and see how it feels. And then take a photo of all your notes and send it to the person and please let me know what I got right. So when I tune into like the root chakra, so the root chakra, how does it make you feel? First, I close my eyes and I try and see, are there any X's? Are there spirals? Is it halfway lit up? There's many, many different things. We are also running a Reiki or energetic grid, an energy projection class. That can also be, you can reserve your seat at daniellipton.com. The classes are filling up very rapidly. So I changed the times of the classes. So I kept the actual time, but I added in 3 p.m. So now there's 2 time slots. So anyone who wants to reserve their seat, I would do it immediately because when the classes get too full, I start cutting them off. I remove it from the website. So this way it keeps the classes smaller so I can one-on-one with people, especially the attachment release class, because I mean, I expect people to be crying in that one. And so just releasing and healing. And, I teach you guys how to do it so you can do it. But you have to really put the time and the dedication in. And so I can give you guys mountains and mountains of this information, but you have to put it into motion. And so what that means is when you wake up in the morning, if you wake up and you don't feel good, it's okay. Everything is okay. You should not be hard on yourself. By being hard on yourself, you're actually casting negative energetics on you, which is making it harder to pull yourself out of that frequency. So if you have a crummy day and you want to sit in bed and watch Netflix, by all means, sit in bed and watch Netflix. That's fine too. It's okay. If you are having a good day, then try and get up and try and make your way. And so make a list of everything that you can do to be happy, right? This is the baby step process to getting from bedridden and depressed to happy and healthy. And so the first step is it's okay to have these days in bed. It's okay for your body to tell you to rest. It's even okay for me. When the retrograde came, I was like, I'm out, guys. I took a week and break. That was a wrap. I was in bed. I was meditating. I was doing energy clearings. I was in my soul bath. And so this is not stop, right? You have to focus. When you feel tired and drained, take the time to rest and rejuvenate yourself. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up because that energy is a cast back. And so when you speak negatively, oh, I didn't do enough, right? No, the truth of the matter is that we are right here, right now, in this very moment. Each of us is divine beings, and you are experiencing whatever frequency you have because this is where you are meant to be. I'm still healing. Everyone on this planet is still healing. I do not care what frequency they are at. Even if they are having instantaneous manifestations, even if they can click and then all of a sudden, if you take a photo, you won't see them in the photo because they don't want you to see them. That's true too. You can each do that. However, it doesn't matter if they're at that frequency. If they're in a physical form, there is something grounding them into the physical reality that needs to be healed. Some people did come here with particular attachments so that they would ground to the physical reality and be teachers. However, the majority of us are not. So if you're listening to any other healers or teachers or instructors, okay, you're on your healing journey just like me. And so we want to make it so it's a level playing field, right? We are all ascending together. We rise. It's not you rise and then I rise. No, we're doing it together. And so keep that in the back of your heads because it makes things much easier on you when you're saying, oh, well, that person's all happy-go-lucky and I'm crummy. Right? That's not the way it works. And a lot of times too, you guys are only watching people on a video. This is important to know because you're not seeing what goes on behind the scenes. There's a lot of energy clearing that I do with the star people There's a lot of stuff. I know every single emotion code on a 10-page attachment list. That's a lot of density. That's a lot of distortions. I'm a champion. I can handle it. However, everyone has their moments, right? And so don't put anybody above you. See how it makes you feel and take it from there. And just be okay with what you are dealing with right now. I was a cripple. It was okay for me to not be able to move from my bed for 6 months. It was okay. That's what I did. I couldn't do it. I couldn't move. I was lifeless, right? Oh, that's another attachment, lifeless. Let me write that down. See, that's how it works too, because it brought up the emotion code of sitting in the bed for 6 months. And then I felt that emotion. I'm like, oh, lifeless. Because I would say, oh, I feel lifeless. When you say things on repeat like that, like, oh, just not today. I just can't do it. Just not today. That's an attachment. Right. And so figure out what you're saying on repeat over and over and over again. And so there's another one called Rockabye, and the attachment rocks the body for ease. And so it makes you rock. It's called Rockabye. It's crazy. That's another emotion code. So that only happens when you are experiencing trauma or chaos. Right? So the experience of you just went through the trauma and chaos, and then he's there. So there's tons and tons of different attachment names. Not only that, but when we go in and do attachment clearings, then you guys are going to have your own attachments that come up. Right? Everyone has their own emotion codes. You guys may have experienced an emotion that I didn't experience. And so at that rate, we got to take yours and write it down, because if it can help other people, we could put that emotion code or that attachment name in a book, and it helps the further generations, our children's children's children, to heal that emotion code. It's of high value for all of us. So when I do my sessions, I like to ask people, can I write down your attachments? Can I know names? But it gets added to the 10 pages of list. So yeah, perfect. I'm here for a reason, 61 years old, and never intended to be a mother. That's not why I'm here. It's funny that you say that, because you're actually not 61 years old. You are plugged into a holographic simulation, and all time and space is happening right now in the moment. And so the way our bodies grow, develop, and we look at the age, because who told us to count them? Whose idea was that, to count down an age? Now, I personally have seen when I sit down with the birthday cake and they're singing to me, now all of a sudden it turns into a giant manifestation, and then I may notice a gray hair appear the day after that birthday cake, right? And so, but meanwhile, it wasn't there yesterday. And so it's a form of manifestation. This is why my kids and I, we've decided to no longer do birthdays. So we're going to do a day of celebration, and we're going to just pick random days of the year. We have not picked these days yet. We just said we were going to do it. And so I think it's going to be very spontaneous. We're going to be like, let's celebrate Cody today. Let's celebrate Kira. Those are my kids, Cody and Kira. And so that's how we're going to do it. Right? It's a day of celebration. The truth of the matter is that we should be celebrating every day that we wake up, because every day is a gift. That's why it is the present. And so you should always have 5 minutes of celebration. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate everything that you have achieved in this life. And not only that, but all of the dark stuff, you should really celebrate, because that means that you've learned a whole lot of attachment codes. And so by learning all of this darkness, you have to realize there's 144 energetic nodes in your energetic grid structures. This is the frequency of the 144. It does not matter what experience you had. The emotion code is all the same. So whether you had a fearful experience by being in a car that almost fell off a cliff, or whether you had a fearful experience at someone yelling at you, it's still fear. It's still the same emotion code. So there's 144 of those. Now we have to go through and we have to experience it in a darkness, and then we have to heal it with light. When we do both of those, it activates that node. When we activate 144 of those by going through all these different emotion codes, it fires up our energetics, which then in turn allows, well, we have to do the work too, though, the star people are saying. They're saying you also have to do the work on the Kundalini, and you have to activate your chi energetics, and your magnetics have to be properly balanced. But when you start to heal, think about the shadow work. You have a trauma, you heal the trauma. What does it do? It lets you light up more. So you're healing, you're raising your frequency. When you raise your frequency, you're unlocking all of these nodes, and then it starts to come together, because the star people are guiding each and every one of us on what we are to do next. And so what you are to do next is, how does it make you feel? What do you do? Your behavior patterns of high value. If you're having a behavior pattern where you're sitting there and you're smoking 1 million cigarettes a day, like I was, then you have to look in your heart chakra, because smoking, that cessation of it has everything to do with the heart. And so what is hurting you? Now, when you quit smoking, your emotions fire up, and that's why everyone puts on weight. It's because it's an emotional imbalance. And so anyone who is thinking about quitting smoking, get yourself some sage. And so when you feel triggered to smoke, burn the sage. That will make the emotion process clear. And so I walked around, I smell like sage. I did put on weight too, because I was highly emotional. I wanted my cigarettes, man, so bad. And now it's going on April. It was last April. May, June, July, August, January. So it's going on 9 months from like 20-something year habit, right? So 9 months in. And so when you have something like that, you should be high-fiving yourself, right? High five, you quit smoking. I don't even think about it anymore. It's like, I feel like it's a different life. It was a lifetime ago. And so, but that's how you know you're over it, when it feels like it was a lifetime ago and you would never do that again, right? That's how you know that you fully have healed it. So when I go through each and every one of my attachments, and it doesn't matter what it is, the soda, that's totally a lifetime ago. I would never even think about touching a soda. Soda, too, by the way, it messes with your thoughts. So if anyone has been having all the negative thoughts in your mind, and you're drinking any type of soda, all of it, it all has these chemicals in it. The kids' amoxicillin has the same chemicals in it. Aspartame, they put it, sucralose, all this stuff it's in a lot of stuff, but it causes thought grid attachments. So just be aware, because when I quit soda, I felt like something was rattling in my brain, telling me just go get another one, just go get another one. And it was over and over and over again, right? And so even the sage didn't work with that one. Sweet tea, you have to see who makes it. And so is it organic? Is it fresh? Now, it's funny, because when we start making our own tea, how are they making sweet tea? They're making it by using like steamed water. Well, when I was a kid, I had this Lipton jar with a yellow lid. I got rid of it. But they have, it's a large glass jar, very, very, very large. And so, but you put all the tea bags in it, you put the lid on it, you put it out in the sun. And then all of a sudden, the sun gives all this heat, it makes it hot, and it brews the tea for you. So what are you doing in that case? Now, light ions don't really pass through glass, especially the glass these days. They're putting UV blocks in it. But, you have the plastic lid, so the UV can get through the lid. And so you're making your own sweet tea that way. And then you don't have to use sugar products. You can also, sun tea. You can use monk fruit is a good one. Or you can sweeten it in a multitude of ways. I think Costco is even selling vanilla bean strips, right? So you can add some of that in there, like vanilla iced tea. Now, me personally, I had to also kick the caffeine. When you drink a 2 liter of soda a day, right, there's an awful lot of caffeine in there. And so I got to such a point where it was like a full throttle on my systems, like your blood pressure, all that stuff throttles up when you drink that amount of caffeine. But it was great. I used to run a marathon. And so, yeah, you just don't want to do that. Don't try it. It's not fun to kick. But it was fun. The iced tea, I choose to do. I actually have mushroom tea. And so this is reishi and chaga with monk fruit. And then I add extra mushrooms in it. I was just sending photos out today to one of my clients. And so they want to know what I use. I just use, there's one that has chaga and reishi, and it makes it feel like coffee when you use both. And so it's just rich, it's dark, it's nutty. And so it's like, okay, I've been wanting coffee because I gave up coffee. I don't know how many months is that? It's like he's saying 4 months for the coffee. And so kombucha tea, I have never had. I did buy kombucha before, so I could keep the jar because they put the flower of life engraved on the jar. I thought that was cool. Kombucha tea is what is that called? It's like with the same process, fermentation, he's saying. And so the fermentation is kombucha. And so there's a lot of health benefits for that. What other teas are there? Kava, wonderful stuff. And so I had kava years. It was going maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And so I got it from Amazon, and it's like a root powder, and you put it in the cheesecloth, and then you steep it in hot. And then you take it out, you flex it, and it's like It's like a little tea, but it makes your lips tingle and it's very calming. So anyone who is lion's mane is amazing. Anyone who's having like stress or anxiety, the kava kava is very calming, but it's not addictive. However, anything can become addictive. So don't use it all the time. Use it once in a while. Right. And so you don't want to be, using it constantly. Actually, the Yogi Teas makes a kava kava. It's not the same. It's not as strong, but it has a little kava kava in it. So it does calm you down. And so you guys, you can even, like, let's say, for an example, you don't feel good. And let's say, for example, your fight or flight systems are fired up. You're having anxiety. You just want to breathe. That's always the first step. Just breathe. Just keep doing that nice and slow, right? And so just breathing is going to get your oxygen levels up. And so when you do it, Wim Hof has a breathwork meditation. So you can just breathe 30 times, very deep into the belly, and then hold your breath for 1 minute on the first round. On the second round, he does 2 minutes. I have a video, and in the video, it guides you because my focus always has to be on something. And so watching the video is extremely helpful. So go on YouTube and see Wim Hof and watch Kava Kava. It's Kava, Kava, Kava. So, and it's funny too, because like I Googled and New York has some Kava Kava bars, right? Kratom is great for pain. However, you can get hooked on that one too. Now, from my personal experience, we were ordering Kratom from Indonesia. And so it's totally different than the stuff that they have in the United States. It's like apples and oranges. So I personally believe from my experiences that the stuff, the Kratom in the United States is garbage. It's not good. It has stuff in it that I think it's chemical, and it says organic on the bag, which is great, but I wouldn't put it past if the government was behind that or the pharmaceutical companies, because they don't want people replacing their pain meds. They make money off of medicine. So, but the Kratom that we were getting from Indonesia, that stuff seemed to work very, very well. And it was totally different than what we have today. So I don't take it now. That was another thing I gave up along my journey. So I've gone through this so many times with different things, even shopping. You guys can go through addictive patterns with shopping, right? So try and get addicted to being in nature. Try and get addicted to doing a kind thing for a stranger at least once a day. So actually, I had an experience today. I did something kind for someone. And so it was my first time using Instacart. So I was like, okay, I don't know how Instacart works, but we're going to try it anyway. My car insurance lady, I asked her to mail me a copy of the thing so I didn't have to print it. And so she didn't want to do it. And then she said, fine. And then she was like, oh, I like chocolate. So I Instacarted her chocolate. Right? So we pay it back. It was a 35-cent postage. So we sent her $35 worth of chocolate. Right? And so we should be doing this for people unexpectedly because it brightens people's day. Now, I could just imagine if they had a service like Instacart, which will pick up whatever it is I want, but record the experience of them getting it, I think that would be perfect. Right? Because I like to see those TikToks too when people are giving stuff away. And it's like that excitement, that joy. Because, and this is another thing the Star people are saying, when you start to tune into other people's energetics, of course you want to see people having fun, being excited, right? Opening their hearts, showing, oh, surprise, right? Because when you start to watch people in that frequency, it affects you differently. You're gaining light ions from witnessing just that. And so you can gain the light ions by someone sending you love. But if you're witnessing positivity, what happens inside of you? If you're watching two elderly people and they're hugging each other, like that movie in the Titanic, right? The two elderly people who hugged each other as the water came killing them. But for a brief second, it touched our hearts. Now, what happened? Your heart opened wide and you felt love because you were showing something that was loving. And so it's that emotion that hits, it hits you. And so your energetics are going to pull light ions in and it's going to start to recharge you. I mean, of course they drown, but that moment in between, it was a loving, like it hit your home, your heart. Yeah. Now I'm finding my tribe. Excellent. Excellent. Reishi oyster. Weird, but I've been craving unpasteurized honey these days. Honey was another thing I went through. And so that was another one. I was like, oh, honey contains resveratrol. And so that increases our lifespan. It anti-ages us. It makes us super healthy. So I started eating gallons of it. You can't do that. So I had to cut it out. But once in a while, it's very healthy. Now, anyone who's running allergies as well, allergies is another thing that you want to get local honey, because those honeybees, they are they're using your local flowers. So if you're having pollen or something, and the grass too, your grass is growing right next to these flowers. So the flowers are pulling up the nutrition from the grass, and then their pollen is like your cure. So we're supposed to be using from organically sourced our location. We're not supposed, and now that I'm thinking about that, we've been talking the past couple of videos. Is it that Canada puts their produce on a truck and drives it all the way down to the United States and gives it to us? And then the United States puts their produce on a truck and drives it all the way to Canada. It makes no sense. Why are you guys doing this to us? Well, what if you start eating locally produced food, it changes the way that your body responds to the local environment. The local environment makes total sense. We know that it works with honey. Well, why wouldn't it work with a pepper or a cucumber? Right? It would probably ground us into the planet at a higher frequency range. The star people are saying it's like more grounding. And so, but not only that, when you drive it across the whole country, now you spent how many days in a truck? And so that's less time that I have to have that fruit and keep it so it's lasting longer. So yesterday, a dog found me. Somehow he got out from who he was taking, and this is owner was on holiday. Oh, God, I saw a TikTok like that. He came straight to my place. Animals love me, and it's funny how they find me. There was a tag on his collar with his name and phone number. I called it, and it wasn't long until family members picked him up. I also gave away a red lead that was a red and strong. I don't know what lead is. I asked how he found you. I had no idea. They just do. Yeah, that's funny because I had a cat show up once, and the cat was he got hit by a car, and his back end was bad. And he showed up right by my back door in my mother's house, which that back door was where I always was. And so you have to realize you're energetic. I was a crazy cat lady. They showed up. They loved me. They didn't want to go, so we made it work. And I had a whole lot. And they used to follow me around. It was hilarious. It was so funny. It was like 100 cats. And so this one cat, all of those cats were gone. And so now it's years goes by. And now this cat shows up. And so I could have sworn that he may have been from one of my litters, and maybe he came back because he was injured. But I called the animal control people, and I sat with him, and I talked to him, and I didn't leave his side. And so there's a beautiful thing that happens when we are with an animal as he is ready to pass. And we are sending him love and compassion, and we really are being one-on-one. Now, I just had this whole conversation with my son because we went to Costco. They got pizza from the food court. And so looking into the food court, they had a sticky pad for the mouse. And I was like, oh my God, like it's tragedy, because if the mouse runs on that pad, what's going to happen to the mouse? He's going to get stuck to the pad. They're going to pick him up, throw him in a garbage can, and put him out in the dumpster. Do you know what it's like? Like they had, there was some TV show where they put human beings in a full body suit with the goggles, and they let them jump into a sticky vat of something. And so, but then the people couldn't get out, and they had to be removed from the sticky gel. That's how those mice are animals. Even if they're rats, they're animals. And so what happens to them getting stuck on that sticky pad, right? Could you imagine being stuck there? And like, I've seen YouTube videos of people who try and like unstick them, and they wash them off and stuff. And it's just like the animal seems like he's lifeless after he goes through that whole experience. Right. So it's weird. Like I feel like the consciousness of human beings, we have to raise our consciousness. We understand we don't want a mouse inside our space, but the earth is their space. So, we have to have compassion for each other. And not only that, but how would it make you feel if that was you? And so I ask myself these questions on a daily basis. I ask every single question that you guys can think. If I see something like that, I'm asking questions. I want to know why do we do this? Why do I have to see this in my world? Why do I have to see a world in which we think it's okay to kill, a murder, even if it's bugs, even if it's cockroaches in your house? Like, isn't there a better way of getting them out without murdering them? Right. And so what are you going to do? You thought I'd be at Costco today? Yeah. I had to get my lettuce and peppers and all sorts. Yeah. Okay. Implants too. That's coming up next. I'm still working and learning about the attachments. I actually started a string of synchronicities. So I've had some people contact me who are like demonologists, like they do attachment removal and all that stuff. So it's wild, and it's a learning process, right? So I did the attachment removal with the star people for 4 days. So I know from my experience how I was, and then I've helped other people remove their attachments. I've helped multiple people remove attachments, but it wasn't like, I know the cockroaches totally have to go. But the attachment removal is like, what are you going to do? Cockroaches. It's funny too, because the metaphysical reason of a cockroach, if you ever see a cockroach, it means that you're a survivor. And so it's technically a blessing to see them. Not that I want them in my house though. It's so gross. Yeah. When running, I heard removing implants tonight. Yeah, that's it's my next stage of the information that they're going to be teaching me. Because Star People and I, for anyone who's new, I work with the Star People, but also I work with the Arcturians a lot. And so my home base is the Arcturians. I have a family there. Now, I have a Starman, and so he was my husband before I came here. And so, we're bonded. So he's with me 24/7 now. That's how we roll. And so when I have all these questions, I go right to him and I ask. And so I want to know. Sometimes he will silence me. Sometimes we're not meant for certain things. Sometimes he'll tell me in time we'll know. If I'm on a session with someone, sometimes he's like, that's not the right question, right? Because we're not, and he won't even tell me. Like, he has access to time-space technology. He won't tell me what's going to happen tomorrow. It goes against, like, we're here to learn from the experience. Even though many of us have come from extraterrestrial families and we've reincarnated down here to learn, it's still a learning experience for us and for them. And so there are some things that I do that they're learning about me, and there's some things that they do I'm learning about them. This is a two-way street. This isn't like many people, we see it as they're extraterrestrials, they have to know it all. They're people. And so when you consider them people, now just imagine Star Wars. What happened in Star Wars? They went into outer space and they met people of all sorts of races, colors, creeds, nationalities, octopus people, right? The dolphin people. So these are all different people. Yes, they have highly intelligence, but so do we. We have some very creative people on the planet, right? Now we just need to get the love involved, because when you're creative and you love, then you're gifting from your heart. It changes the entire story. What attachments do you feel people who have had one or a few of the latest vaccines could have? Okay, so let me take a sip. I saw a YouTube video and they cut apart. It was that chocolate that's round and it has rice on the outside and it's in a clear plastic container. Everyone knows what they are. And they stuck that under a microscope and they saw parasites in it. Now, we've had pancake mix and we see maggots growing in it. We see, let's say an animal gets hit by a car, and then all of a sudden there's parasites growing in it. So it's even found in nature. And so there's some attachments that are placed in the food as well as the vaccines, which they start as Morgellons disease. And so it's like a black stringy thing. Well, I don't want to scare people. It's around. Do your research if you want to, but you really don't have to, because the way that works, they're in the physical form, including with the vaccines. They raise their frequency, then they pop off, and then they're in light form, and we can't see them in the physical reality. So it's fine. So now they're in a light form. So what are they? Now they're the attachments that are connected to all these emotion codes that we can cast off. However, each and every one of us, we should be doing, if we can, try and do a parasite cleanse at least once. See if anything comes out. And so many times, especially the people who say, oh, no, not me, right? Those are people who have the most of them. Nobody wants to deal with these things coming out in your poop. Nobody. You think the cats and the dogs want to deal with it? No. However, if you've ever had sushi, raw fish, you have parasites. And so pork, you have parasites. It happens. And so you just go through and do a parasite cleanse. That's all. There's a few different things. Fenbendazole is one. And so there was a guy on the news, the real news, who he had cancer everywhere. He was going to die. The doctor sent him home. They're like, you're going to die. And so what happened is he took fenbendazole, and in a couple of weeks he was cured. It was gone. All the cancer was gone. And so there's a lot of research about parasitic and cancer being one and the same. You have the parasites, they're causing the cancer, and this is what it is. So now all of that is coming into play as well, because we can see physical parasites and we can also see metaphysical parasites, which are the energetic vampires. But there's multiple attachments. There's multiple levels to this. And so we have shadow people, we have the archons, we have the parasitic ones. There's multiple levels. What are you going to do? There's nothing that you can do. And then not only that, but the holographic simulation is a fractal. So the second that you start digging, it starts expanding and you start seeing more and more and more and more. So there's nothing that you can really do about it. You have to embody your heart chakra and be love and light and overcome the physicality of this reality, which is why we're here right now. Some of us will never do a parasite cleanse. And yet we will still come into the heart chakra and we will fully embody our love and light. And then we will activate our energetic grids and we will raise a frequency above, which then in turn allows us to not have to worry about that. That's also an option for manifestation. Where you put your focus on, it goes. However, if you have done everything in your power to heal yourself from any disease or distortion, and it just will not heal, you should grab a parasite cleanse and see how it makes you feel. Normally, now, I've done colloidal silver, which kills parasites, mold, funguses, bacteria. And so the hospitals know this because when you get a burn, they used to give you silver cream. It's called Silverdene. And so, but it's the same thing. It's silver in a cream. And so it's colloidal silver that you put on a cut or infection, which kills the bacteria inside the cut or infection, allowing you to heal. And so that's silver. The farmers used to put a silver coin inside the milk jugs and shake it up and it would kill the bacteria. And so colloidal silver is great. Now, I had a stomach virus and I can only tell you guys from my experience what I've done. I'm only a stay-at-home mom. And so I've taken colloidal silver and it cured the stomach virus. My nephew at the time, he had the same exact stomach virus, same symptoms and everything. He ended up in the hospital on heavy-duty amoxicillin and whatever else they were giving him. So, right, these things do work. I know that they work. However, you guys, it doesn't matter if someone tells you that something is going to work. You have to try it and see how you feel. Some things like allergies. I could tell you guys to eat mushrooms. Maybe you have a mushroom allergy. You have to know your own physicality. What do you guys have allergies to? Don't just take someone's word from the internet. Do the research. This is why I can only tell you guys what I use. Monoatomic gold is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And so I use that constantly. I actually did run out. So now I'm trying Shilajit, which is high in monoatomic gold. And so back in 2012, I had this Alzheimer's thing. And we're just going to dive into it. I don't know if I told you guys already, but I went through a complete memory wipe. I was down to level 0. So you guys would say a sentence to me and I would forget the sentence and I was unable to reply to you. It went on for 6 months. It sucked. I sat there like a vegetable in a chair and I was like, oh, I'm useless. I can't even talk to people. And so I would forget what I was doing. It was like hardcore. However, after 6 months, I got a bottle of monoatomic gold, which I knew about before this had happened. And so after taking the monoatomic gold, like once in the morning and once at night, very tiny, tiny amount because it was expensive, then all of a sudden I felt like an encyclopedia. It was a lot better and I felt healed. So now I say I'm healed, but my memory is still a little bit funny. Now, the star people did tell me from a metaphysical or spiritual perspective, they said somebody had to cycle the Lemuria thing again because they were at a very high level consciousness in Atlantis. And then they fell to level 0. So what I did was I fell to a level 0, which is not having any memory. And then I was able to heal it. And so now sometimes my memory is still funny. However, it's a whole lot better than what it was. So, and not only that, but last week when I was doing these videos, I felt like there was runoffs. And so I would be talking about something and then I'm like, what was I saying? Because the way the star people download the information, it's like whoosh. It's like I get all this information and I have to spit it out very, very rapidly before I forget it. That's how it felt last week. And so now I started taking the Shilajit and now it's like it's better. So Shilajit has monoatomic gold in it. So you guys really should either do one or the other, but both are amazing. If you guys want to see, you can send me a message on Facebook if you want the picture. I'll send it to you. The types I use. Actually, forget that. I'm just going to make a video The next live, I think, is in a couple days. I'm just going to bring the products and put them on the live so you guys can see what I use. It's easier than emailing 100 people. So the messages get bombed sometimes. It's okay. I take my time. I get through them, though. So, yeah, beautiful. Yeah, monoatomic gold. The monoatomic elements are found naturally in the earth. And so this works if you have like a vortex or spring water. And so what that spring is doing, it's going in a circle and it's clockwise. So it's the rotation of the earth, which is providing a life-giving energetic inside the water that you drink. Your water is supposed to always be vortexed. So if we're buying store-bought bottles, if you guys can make a cardboard pyramid and stick your water in that, and then it will start the vortex process. Now, anyone who's done water freezing testing, and so let's say we know what Hiro Hashimoto, I believe that's his name, and he spoke a word to the water and then he flash froze it and he put it under a microscope and he found it gives a sacred geometric snowflake for each and every one. Well, when we start to take regular bottled water, we can hold it up to, I like to hold it up to my heart. You don't actually have to, but I can actually feel the vibrations from my voice coming into the bottle of water just by holding it next to me. And so I speak to my water. Thank you, water. I love and I bless you, water. Now, it's so incredibly funny because I saw a TikTok and who was it? Greg Braden. And he was showing a video and he was like, E-I-E-I with an A. Oh, and supposedly when you sing that, it opens all of the primary chakra systems. Now, I just saw the video yesterday, but when you say E-I-E-I-O, you can feel it resonate in different parts of your body. You can feel it vibrate differently. So when you hit O, it's like Om, it's vibrating your heart. And so when you do that into the water, it's putting that frequency through your heart into that water. So Om is great, E-I-E-I-O. But even speaking of loving, caring, kind, opening your heart chakra, allowing that love-based emotion to really wash into the water. And then not only that, but you guys, you can program water. So water's like a crystal. It's beautiful. The way the whole system works, genius. I couldn't have invented it better myself if I had invented it better myself. That's how complex this entire physical reality is. And I think it's just genius. And so we use crystals. And the crystals hold a frequency. And when we hold the crystal, it changes our energetic grids, changes our magnetism, and it starts allowing us to manifest according to what properties that the crystal has. And so now you have people putting crystal. You can even take a regular crystal. You can tape it on the outside of your bottle if you don't have one of the crystal bottles. But they have glass crystal water bottles where you're putting your crystals next to your water. And so that frequency of the crystal gets inside the water. Now, some easy ways to do it, because every single cure is cheap. And so that's the way the universe works. The universe doesn't care about money. It's like, oh, you're sick here. Boop, there you go. You have it. Here's your dandelion. You can now heal yourself dirt cheap. Go outside, there's your plan. That's how the universe gifts us our cures. It will always be within your reach. And so you can get it on Amazon or you can go into your backyard and you can look. And so I found later in life that when I was going through certain things, the plant was right in my backyard and I had no idea. So everyone should really be going in the backyard and researching what plants are these and what properties do they hold? What do they do? And so, you ever seen someone who's really miserable and depressed and like never leaves their house and the entire front of the yard is covered in dandelions? That's always because their fight or flight system gets activated, which puts them into a frequency of isolation. And then the dandelion flower being in the front yard or back, it's there to try and gift them their medicine because it affects their heart chakra. So if you take the dandelion, you can either eat it, you can eat the root, you can eat the flower, you can put it in your salad, or you can grind it up and put it into gel cabs, pills, and swallow them, or you can make dandelion tea. And so either way is fine. And so when you start to do things like that and work with the crystals and bless your water, you can even bless your food. Now, during the process of blessing your food, right, your food is going to raise in frequency. So if you're taking an apple, every single day, you should be doing this to the same exact apple. So you take the apple, I love and I bless your apple. But you can't just say it. You have to mean it. It has to come from your heart and you have to be emotional about it. So what I do is I ground into the earth and I imagine my connection with Mother Earth and I imagine how much I love her. That gets me connected to the earth, which then assists me in the process of blessing the food that she has gifted to me. And it doesn't matter if it's a loaf of bread or if it's a fruit or vegetable. It still came from the earth one way or the other. And so I get emotional. And then I cast that loving emotion onto whatever it is that I'm doing this with. And so when you do that, then all of a sudden the frequency raises very, very rapidly. And you will notice that there's an extension of the lifetime of that fruit or vegetable or food. So very important. Just try it out for yourself. Now, for all my stay-at-home mom scientists, you can make a cardboard pyramid and put your banana or your apple in that. And so when you do that, take a journal. How many days did the banana last in the cardboard pyramid? How many days did the ones last on the counter? And then move it. So take the counter bananas and put it up in a cabinet, and take the pyramid and move it somewhere. And then you do it again. This is what scientists do. They just do, scientific experiments, and they figure things out. We can do it too. We do not need a white lab coat. We do not need a degree. And actually, the degrees that are coming from the college universities, I have no faith in any of them, because we don't know what information has been manipulated from the government. So the only way for us to truly know is to do it ourselves. Right. So unfortunately for the society, but I'm going to trust if someone, especially the stay-at-home moms, because if you've ever seen a stay-at-home mom, when they have their little groups and their chats and all this stuff, but if their kid ever gets sick, they've already researched 100 different ways to heal their kid. That's stay-at-home mom power, because what are you doing when you're home? You have access to the computer. You have all this time on your hand. And now you do. This is the reason why the government doesn't want us to be at-home people. This is the reason why you have to work 2 or 3 jobs, because they don't want you having time to figure out all the spiritual knowledge. The beautiful thing about it is that now we have people like me who are putting out the spiritual knowledge, and there's a bunch of different videos that you guys can watch. You can just put it on when you sleep. You can audio book it, whatever, right? And so the spiritual knowledge is coming out full force anyway. It doesn't matter. So, bit off subject, but what can you tell us about the goodness Kali in being presented in my life at the moment right now after Ganesh? Kali. So once again, that's part of, I think, the Indian gods. And so I don't really know much about them. I just know that they contacted me. But I was supposed to heal something and I wasn't ready to do it. So I guess they disconnected. But my ex is still talking to them, and he doesn't know. He's great. He has no idea that he's a channel. I keep telling him, I say, you're channeling these people. And he's like, no, it's okay. He's a little physical focused, but he's all into the spiritual knowledge. So it's very interesting to see, because there was a book, Bhagavad Gita, and they kept saying it over and over and over again in my mind. And I Googled and I couldn't find anything on it. I was like, I don't know. I haven't seen anything. And then he came in walking in with his book, and it said Bhagavad Gita. And I was like, oh my God, you got the book. They've been saying that name in my head for like weeks. So it's just absolutely amazing, the synchronicities. And not only that, but the star people want to talk to all of you guys. They do not want gatekeepers. This information, anyone can break it down. And so when you break it down, it makes it simple for you. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be hard. Don't beat yourself up. Just keep trying, because the more and more you try, the more better it's going to get. And so you have to realize, when I first started channeling, I thought everything that they were telling me was amazing. And so I know now that they were pushing that emotion code into me, because now I look back at my writings from the first days. I'm like, oh, that's a little rough. But look at the journey. I believed it was amazing. And then one day I woke up and all of the channeling was amazing. And it's still amazing. And I still believe it's amazing. And so, but that's the key. That's the secret. Because when you believe that what you are putting your heart into is amazing, it doesn't matter what other people believe. It doesn't matter what your future self is going to look back at and think, oh, that's crummy. It doesn't, none of that matters. What matters is the now moment. How did it make you feel? If you felt like it was amazing, you felt like you were here to help 1 million people, that's what you're meant to do. And so just feel those emotions and just keep focusing on that, because one way or the other, it will pan out in your physical lifetime. And so it doesn't matter whatever you guys independently are here to do. Figure out what you love. What you love is key, because that's your puzzle piece. Each person is a puzzle piece in the entire humanity collective consciousness grid. And so we're each a little piece of the puzzle. Figure out what makes you happy. It doesn't matter if it's making yarn. It doesn't matter if it's washing windows. It doesn't matter. Like, we saw a Costco guy and he was making pizzas. And let me tell you something, that man was in a zone. And so he was bop-a-da-bop-a-da-bop, helping like 1,000 people at once. And I was like, don't rock his zone because he's in the zone of focus. We should be trying to get into that zone of focus every single day, but do it with something that makes you excited and joyful and opens your childlike mind. A lot of you guys watching, it's all about the extrasensory abilities. And so that's very true, because many of us, our highest passions, if you haven't found it yet, it's because you're meant to find it when it's time for those abilities to be unlocked for the entire collective. Now, take for an example, if you're sitting here trying to bend a spoon and you're sitting next to someone who doesn't believe the spoon will bend, it adds resistance. This is how resistance and energetics work. And so when you have a little bit of resistance, now it's harder for you to bend the spoon. And so the collective consciousness, is the majority of people ready for superhuman abilities? Probably not. Not right this second. Otherwise, they would be fully unlocked. Some people have already started the process of unlocking them. Many of us have. And so just becoming aware of these extrasensory abilities starts the process of unlocking them for the entire collective consciousness. This is why we are here in these moments. Not only that, but we are preparing for a solar flash. And so the solar flash, a coronal mass ejection, it has already been happening in baby solar flares. It's not just one ginormous big solar flash, except that's going to happen too. But we can see the history. We already had a solar flash on this planet, which knocked out the radio wires. I saw that. Something just whoosh, whoosh in front of my camera. It was crazy. I bet you that was a bunch. That looked like a bunch of extraterrestrial ships, like whoosh, right in front of me. Sometimes the fairies show up. Sometimes it's orbs. It's just amazing. I've had people see my Starman hanging out behind me. And so you can see them. If people can see them, sometimes he does a peace sign. That's like my thing. You could see my Facebook, my kids, in every single picture, they are throwing their 22s. And so I've been doing that for years. It's amazing. Yeah. How's everyone feeling tonight? Good? Yes. Thank you guys for liking and sharing and following and doing all of that stuff. I always forget to ask you guys to like, share, and follow. Now, I do post on Tree of Life Organization on YouTube. And so YouTube is amazing. You guys want to follow me there just in case of any censorship or yada, yada. Except, you know what? I haven't really gotten censored. So I knock on wood. I really shouldn't be speaking about it. But follow me everywhere. This way you guys have access to me. And so DanielleLipton.com, we have a subscribe. There you can put your email so that I can stay in touch. God forbid anything happens. We do offer the crystal package. And so the crystal package, let me show you guys one more time. So we have Andara crystals. Now, what the star people kept telling me, they kept saying Anandara. But if you look online and the beautiful woman who gave these to me, she said they're Andara. But the star people said Anandara crystals. And so they said that this was gifted to humanity from the stars. And so they're quite valuable. But we are going to be placing these in all of the crystal packages. And so anybody who gets a crystal package from this moment on, you guys are going to get one of these. As many as I have. I only have a tiny jar of them. So, yeah. And then we have some of the bigger ones that are going to go out. So you guys can go to DanielleLipton.com and support. And also, we do gift crystal packages to people. So that's a new thing. I don't think I've told you guys about that. I'm a gifter. So I like over gifting a lot of stuff. So if I see you guys commenting, messaging on Facebook, if I see you in my message box and I see you a bunch of times, I might throw Zoom classes, whatever, right? And so it's just part of being a community and trying to help and heal each other. And so we should never let spiritual knowledge be gatekept. I'm not a fan of gatekeepers. And so that's the reason why I make all the videos. I want you guys to have all the knowledge. Send me your questions because your questions will turn into a great video. I will answer every single one of them. I have a ton I want to send. Yes. So, the P.O. box is P.O. Box 56, Emmaus, Pennsylvania, 18049. My name is Danielle Lipton. So that address is on my Facebook page and it's on treeoflifeorganization.com. And so if anyone wants to have a session with me, now's the perfect time because we're coming out of the retrograde. So we can start to see the energetics are still in like a release. So now it's like the last couple of days to really get your moment in. I do a full energetic clearing on every one of my session people because I know how valuable energetic clearings are. And I know how strong they are, especially because the star people help me. And so a lot of times people may feel body movements, tingles, heat, all sorts of sensations while I'm doing the energetic. That's normal. And so, but when you'll know, because we cut the energetic cords. And so that's important, because energetic cords, I've done energetic cord cutting, and I've waved the crystal over and I've spoken the words, I cut any and all cords. There's actually an emotion that has to go into that. And so you have to release. And so by releasing, it's like, it's okay for you to go back into the simulation and have your own experience. You have to actually release people. It's not just waving a crystal and burning some smoke or 2 candles, some string, whatever. It's different. And so when the star people do the energetic clearing, because they clear me all the time, I notice people I haven't spoken to in like 6 months or more, they contact me the very next day. And so when that happens, I do not allow the contact, because I'm like, I just had an energy clearing. I don't pick up the phone. I wait 7 days. This way, that cord cannot be put back on me, because it's a healing process. And so just allow, that's how I know, like the star people coming and helping and healing and all this stuff, you're going to feel it. You may have people from older days contact you. So, there's certain signs I see everybody going through. And so it's a lot of, the attachment release is wild. And so I do healing sessions. The healing sessions, we dive into the emotions. And so you're feeling emotions, your traumas, you don't have to tell me any of that, but I normally coax them all out of you. And this way it's released. And this way you feel like lighter once you let go of all that stuff. It's like carrying a bag of rocks that we don't belong carrying. And so when you release all the emotions, you put it down, you feel a ton lighter. So I offer healing sessions. In the future, I am going to be offering attachment sessions. The attachment sessions is very taxing on me, because I have to go into all these emotion codes as we're doing it. So that we're not offering right now. It is going to come in the future. Those are going to be a minimum of 2 to 3 hours. We'll see. It's going to be either 2 or 3. So we'll see how that goes. But I have a feeling that you guys are definitely going to need that, because pulling that amount of attachments out of people, it releases a type of energy. And then all of a sudden you feel a ton better. It's like instantaneous. And so I remember, because when I went through it for 4 days. For those 4 days, I felt crummy. I in and out of the bathtub. I felt drained. I felt tired. But then after it was all done, the very next day, I felt this burst of energy. And so that's how the attachment releases work. Now with me, the star people were continuously doing the attachment releasing, even when I wasn't aware. That's why they're stepping forward now, and they're saying, you felt crummy for 4 days because we were still working on the energetics. And so by the end of the 4th day, it's like a weight is lifted off your body. And so more light can shine through. Yeah, those emotions can turn into extra body weight. Yeah, well, we were covering that earlier with the quit smoking. That's why everyone puts on weight. Your emotions, the smoke cleanses and purifies your emotion grid. Without your cigarette smoke, you're not cleansing and purifying your emotion grid. So what happens is you fire up and then you put on weight. Your body weight actually is the body's way of storing fat to protect itself. So if you don't feel safe, your body puts on weight. And so everyone who's carrying weight, from a physical perspective, I walked around for years and I'm like, they're being poisoned, because they have all the chemicals and the genetic modification that's causing people for weight. But now I know you can be skinny and then you don't have the same emotions as me. And then I can, not me, but somebody, and then they can put on weight because of their emotions. So it really is every single distortion that we see in the human body. It starts in the energetics and the emotions. So when we start to master the energetics and emotions, all of a sudden, none of the stuff matters, because you tune into a higher frequency and everything heals. And so that was me. I was a cripple for 12 years. 7 was horrible. 5 was positive. I mean, it wasn't positive, but it was bearable. It wasn't deep and dark and dense. So we go through 12-year cycles. And so 7 of them are very prominent, and then 5 you may not notice. So that's how the 12 completes the entire cycle. And then by 13, it's like 1. So you take a look at the octave of like a piano keys. And so you have a certain amount. 13 is 1. It's a start of 1. So take a look at the numerology. 13, number 1 is a fresh start. And 3 is God's number, because 333 is the source frequency number. So yeah, weight is definitely a protection. Yeah, beautiful. Like, share, follow. There's the email subscription list, DanielleLipton.com. And so DanielleLipton.com, you guys can get a session, or you can actually reserve your space in the classes. And so on the next live video is coming up, I feel so unprepared because I don't have my iPad here, and like I had a picture with all the dates of all the videos this week I was gonna do. I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm not sure. Go to the Danielle Lipton Facebook page, or treelifeorganization.com is also another Facebook blog page. So you guys can see when I'm coming online, doing the next video. I think I'm doing like 4 videos this week. So we're really trying to get information out. So if you have any questions, you guys can send them to me through Facebook Messenger on Danielle Lipton profile or Tree of Life Organization. Or you guys can even message me on daniellelipton.com. Book a session in. It's great. And then we also have Star People group, and that's on Facebook. And so Star People group, I post everything in one spot. So if you get confused or you don't like looking at the profile, the group is, I feel like the group is a visual. It's better than a regular profile. So, yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Caroline. So tomorrow we have another video with me at 5 p.m. Yeah, so 5 p.m. I tried to make it so that my overseas people can come. We have Fabio. I love that name. It's my brother used to have long blonde hair, and they had a commercial about Fabio, and he had long blonde hair and he used to shake it. So it's like a blast from the past. Every time I see his name, I'm like, Fabio. It brings back childhood memories. Yeah. Sharon, welcome. Yeah, book a session in daniellipton.com or just send me a message. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, so I guess we're going to end it tonight. Does anyone have any more questions? Yeah, 13 is a great number. We should be blessing the number 13 because it's a new, fresh start and God is with you, or the source frequency, whatever you guys want to call it. Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. Love clearing my energy field. Yes, it is like an exorcism. It really is, though. It is. I mean, when I go into the civilization too, like a lot of times we burn sage. And so when you get to a certain point, there is a mental note on that one. And so we also, we're supposed to get to a certain point in which we don't need any free passes or tools. So when you're really when your vibration is very, very high and you're blissful and you're like loving every single experience, we won't need protection. We won't need sage. We won't need to worry about what we're putting in our mouth, salad or no salad. We'll just be in bliss, and it will allow us to tune into 4D frequencies. Right now it's 4D. 5D is the solar flash. 4D is when we can instantaneously manifest and we start to tap into time-space abilities. And so time-space ability starts by being really happy. Time seems to go very fast. Most of the times, you guys don't notice the live streams. We're at 1 hour and 36 minutes already. And everyone claims time seems to fly. I feel like I've only been sitting like 20 minutes. So my time flies when I do this. So that's why sometimes you guys let me know if you're done. It's maybe too much info. Let me know. It's okay. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming. Welcome. Send me your questions so I can take you and whatever you guys want to hear. I basically have learned and been brought through this whole experience with the Star People of them showing me every single aspect of the human consciousness grid and how to raise the frequency of it. And so it's just taking control of the physical reality, all this stuff, all this information they've gifted me. So send me your questions and I will answer each and every question that comes through. I'll write them down on a list and I'll try my hardest to get them out to you guys. So thank you very much and many, many love and blessings. And you guys have a wonderful evening.